Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Big Rob of Big Rob and the Goose coming back with a video to show a little bit of my PC on baseball, which is the smallest of the three sports that I would have. Because most of my baseball is cards I really like are from the 80s and 90s. Even though I did pick up I have a couple last year's rookies just to throw in the box because I heard a few interviews from them and I kind of liked them. For the most part, the cards that I pick out for my PC are not usually the most expensive, but for some reason I like them. So for that reason, this is why they are. So I already told you guys about the 84 tops. Then I also got the Donnie booklet in the draft to go with my ejection ball. So I'll put up a little IKEA cabinet and put a little bit of stuff in there. But probably my favorite player of the 80s was Ozzie Smith. And my favorite card of Ozzie Smith is the 82 Topps Traded because that's his first Cardinal card. So I don't usually care for the Padres stuff. I do have a really nice Padres Ozzie Smith in a Padres hat from the Hall of Fame. But for me, these are the two cards. I wanted this in a 9. It's pretty common to get them in a 9. It costs you about $25. So, but at the end of the day, I got it, and so that's going to go up in the cabinet too. Then one of my other favorite players from the Cardinals was Mark McGuire. I like the fact that's signed in red for some reason, and this is a 9, which these are not easiest to come by now. They are a lot more expensive, and so I'm gonna put them away, and hopefully in a few years that'll be a good one. And I also have this McGuire booklet, which I like. I like the fact it said St. Louis. So Goose and I had this out for a couple shows, and when it didn't sell, I decided I was just going to go ahead and take it. So then after that, I go into Bo Jackson, which we got a 9 here on a Topps Tiffany, which is pretty sweet. And this was pulled out of a 2019 1 of 5 autograph. I pulled it on Black Friday from K&L Cards, so I was pretty excited to get it. Cause usually my autographs are people you've never heard of. So when I was like, wow, that's Bo Jackson, so I was pretty pumped to get that. So these two are going to go in the PC pile. Then we got just a couple of Griffies. This is a 10, the score trade, and this is a 9 from Beckett, but I just like these cards, so I decided to throw them in. I think we have several of those because we bought that by a lot of 10. But then this is probably my favorite baseball get at the draft. Even though I got cards much more expensive, this was probably the one that I wanted the most, and I was glad to get it. So next up was a Scott Rowland. I believe this is 97 Donner signatures. The reason I like this card is because Scott Rowland autograph cards remind me a lot of when my wife and I started dating. She was from the area he's from, so when we see those, since I'm a romantic, I'd take her to the card show, and whenever she'd see them, she'd point them out. So I'd always like to have a couple. So I'm gonna keep one in there. And then when I was a kid, I used to listen to Steve Stone broadcast Cubs games, even though it was not a Cubs. And I pulled that out of a box this year, which really, I think the box cost $60, and I might have gotten $15 worth of cards out. I really lost. You'll find when a lot of people are bored at a card show, they'll go get cards just to open. And that was the case in this. And he's currently the White Sox announcer. And if this had been in a White Sox uniform, we could have sold this immediately. We have several people. Most time we offer it to Rod Brown, but we have other White Sox fans. But they all stuck their nose up to it because it was in a Cubs uniform. So I'm like, him and old Harry Carey back in the day, I'll just throw it in the box. I'm not going to worry about trying to sell that. And then last year I worked at the Pirates, or the Indianapolis Indians, for the Pirates affiliate. And Mitch Keller was a pitcher there. And when you work at the games, you kind of change your perspective about baseball. I'm no longer just a fan of baseball. I'm wanting to have a pitcher who throws strikes and is really quick. And this was this guy. So like if I went in there and I saw that he was pitching, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be out of here pretty quick. So I got a chance to get this pretty dirt cheap. Actually, no, this was in the draft. So when I saw that, I'm like, I'm just gonna pick that up because I always was relieved when I saw him pitching because if you get a pitcher that just throws balls, you might. Well, I remember one game we were like 2 hours in and we were in the third inning because both pitchers were just terrible. And this guy, he would be in the seventh or eighth. I mean, some of the fastest games the Indians had while I was working was definitely with him pitching. So then we got two from last year. I like the old Vlad. I think he's a fun kid. And I also like Pete Alonso. There's a little reflection on there. I liked when Pete Alonso won the home run derby and Vlad tore it up in the home run derby. I liked the way they interacted. I liked the celebration. I liked how they both said, this meant something to them. And that made me feel good about being a fan of theirs. So these are two kids I'm going to throw in, and let's see what happens. But the baseball box is not as big as the other one. Here, I'll throw a couple cards just to look at. I actually picked that card up from my buddy Bart in Henderson, Kentucky. I'm probably not going to sell it or trade it to him. I'm just going to hold it over his head because that's the kind of guy I am. But I'm sorry I got sidetracked. But for the baseball, for the most part, was that new baseball doesn't do much for me. When I look back at baseball, I always think about like the 80s and the 90s. I'm definitely going to be adding Derek Jeter autos and rookies into this. For some reason, I don't know. Goose might have picked him off because Goose is a big Yankees fan back in the day, and if I know that, I'll let him get him. But from now on, I'm gonna be looking to pick up some Derek Jeter stuff and to basically not actually add more people, but maybe to expand some of the cards that I have of these guys. We have quite a few Vlad Guerreros out to be graded, and I'm sure we have a boatload of Pete Alonso. So I just want to say thank you for watching this, and we'll be back probably next Saturday or Sunday with the basketball, and then the following week will be with the football, which really, I'm going to be honest with you, is just going to be a Colts lot because everybody knows there's only one NFL team, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. So thanks for watching, and you have a good day.